Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. That's right, you shouldn't be playing this deck for the WCQ. Now I know what you're saying, then why are you showing me this? If I don't want to play it, why is it here? Well, because honestly this deck is incredibly fun to play, and the reason you shouldn't be playing it is not that it's not good, or that it's not strong enough, or anything like that, but in fact, because it's too slow. This deck is incredibly slow, but it's very good, and it's very fun. Well, I say it's very good. It's good. It's decent. So yeah, we're going to quickly go over the card by card, and yes, this is basically just Joshua Schmidt's deck list, so if you want to hear the World Champ diff, you can always check out Joshua Schmidt and his analysis on this deck. He's played it a ton more than me, but overall I do have a few changes and things that I personally like more overall with the deck, but overall it's pretty good. So we're going to start off here with we're just going to go card by card, starting off with the Absolute King Backjack. Pretty simple. If it's sent to the graveyard, you get to stack your deck. You then, during the opponent's turn, get a banish to potentially get a trap. Pretty good. We also have Soldier Dragons, which is very weird, but stay with me. Soldier Dragon says, once per turn, not a hard once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, special summon a level 2 dragon, special summon a level 2 or lower dragon from your deck. Now, notably, this can get Soldier Dragons. Now, why is this important? Well, one, it's a 2. Which is very good. And while it is pretty slow, it doesn't matter nearly as much in something like this, because you're going to slow down the game anyway, so it's fine. And two, the fact that it can also get Laundry Dragon Maid, which has the ability to, on normal or special, mill cards. That's all that it does. It just mills some cards. Which is pretty good, because you want a lot of these cards in grave. The Paleos have graveyard effects. The rollback is pretty good in grave. Rise to Full Height is good in grave, etc., etc. So, there you go. And so we're playing 2 of the Laundry Dragon Maid. Laundry Dragon Maid can also be brought back with Tidying, so we're playing 1 of that as well to kind of pair with it. And then I'm playing Hyperia. I think Hyperia is really good. If it's summoned, whether that's through flip summoning, whether that's through normal summoning, whether that's through special summoning, if it's summoned, you draw a card. It's pretty useful. I like it a lot, and I think I'll continue to play it. It's very nice as well off of Gigantic Sprite. I think it's a little bit better than something like a Laundry Dragon Maid. Just to draw a card, I think is a little bit stronger than a potential mill. And that is it for the monsters. Next up, we have some spells. We're playing Triple Reasoning, pretty self-explanatory. A Grass, also. Why are we playing 58? Because we don't really need to play 60. There's not really any other cards that we'd want to play, so why not 58? There you go. That's more or less it. Yeah, so we're playing the 1 Grass to potentially mill additional cards. We're playing Trap Tantalizing Tune, which just discards a trap to draw 2. And then, of course, 2 Time Tearing Morganite. 3 Time Tearing Morganite to draw 2 during the draw phase, which does come up quite a bit because of the fact that we are playing such a slow game. As for the traps, we're playing lots of different traps. I'm going to go over the 2 1-ofs that we're playing. We're playing 1 Elemental Burst as well as 1 Tidying. Tidying I've kind of also explained, but yeah, you basically just use it to bring back your Dragon Maid. Elemental Burst basically just says to nuke your opponent's field if it is in the grave for rollback. So you can just roll back, target Elemental Burst, nuke the opponent's field. That's kind of it. The actual activation condition is insane, so it's basically just a rollback target, which is why we're only playing the 1. As for the rest of the cards, I'm playing 2 Accumulated Fortune. Josh is playing Balance of Judgment, which is fine. I think Accumulated is a little bit better. It's a little bit more proactive. It's something you can chain, which I think is a little bit better, and it comes up a lot more often where it's actually useful, because you can go Accumulated Fortune, chain a Paleo, and actually get the Paleo onto the field and not ruin your draws. You're still getting the same amount of draws, and I feel like most of the time Balance of Judgment is only useful against Snake Eyes, which comes up not as often in Master Duel. However, if you were to play in Stage 2 of the WCQ, maybe you would switch this out for Balance of Judgment. Just what I prefer. I think this is a little bit better against a wider range of decks. And that is it for the 2-ofs. Everything else is 3 of traps. We are playing 3 Woboku to survive battle. We're playing 3 Needlebug Nest to mill more cards. We're playing 3 Fiend Griefing to shuffle cards back, as well as mill the Backjack. We're playing 3 apiece of all of the good Paleos. 3 Olenoids, 3 Canadia, 3 Dynamicious, 3 Morella, and 3 Leoncolia. Olenoids pops a spell trap. Canadia flips a card face down. Dynamicious banishes a card from face up and then discards. Morella sends a sends a trap to the graveyard, and then Leoncolia returns a banished card to the graveyard, which all of these are pretty decent. And they're kind of like the best effects. Especially the Leon Colia is actually really strong in this deck. Being able to put back rollbacks, being able to put back backjacks, being able to put back even your banished Paleos, which is pretty good. Then we're playing 3 Rise to Full Height for battle protection, basically. If you have a Paleo, you just target the Paleo, or you banish it, target the Paleo, and then you're protected from battle. They're only going to be able to walk into that one Paleo, and you're not going to die, which is pretty cool. We have the 3 Trap Trick to get into our trap cards. We're playing the triple Daruma as well as the triple Rollback, because, Rollback's very, very strong in this deck. As for the extra, we are playing the 2 Anomalocaris, 2 Opabinia, 1 Sprite, 1 Downer, 1 Zayas, and then that is it for our Xyz. For the links, we're playing the 1 Link Karibo as well as 1 Anima. We're playing 2 Hieratic Seals for just Hieratic Seal stuff, you know, it's seals. We're also going for 1 Coral Anemone, which allows us to go into Zelantis and do a Zelantis lock, which is pretty cool. And then we are also playing the 1 Cambrorasta, which is okay. Yeah, it's fine. 1 Alpha and 1 SP Little Knight. Now, notably, the most important card in here is Opabinia. It's very good. It searches out a Paleo, while also allowing you to activate the Paleos from hand, which is all very nice. We also have Anomalocaris, which pops a card and then potentially grabs a trap if it's from the top of the deck. So yeah, if a trap card is sent from the spell trap card zone to the graveyard, whether you activate it or not, you can then excavate the top card, and if it's a trap, you can add it to the hand or send it, or otherwise send it to the grave. So not bad, but pretty good. And then once per turn, during either player's turn, you can just detach a material in order to pop a card if you have a trap, which is pretty. This effect is very strong. Just a generic negate or generic pop. It does require 3 monsters, so there's that. Whereas Opabinia just requires the 2. And those are the 2 most important. This guy, I never actually ended up summoning. You probably don't need this guy, honestly. Like, genuinely, I would not suggest crafting this guy. He's just not worth it. But that's going to be it. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alright, so here we are going second, and honestly, I'm not going to show you too many replays, just because, man, so many of the replays just take so long. So, we'll probably only show you 2. But here we are up against Branded, and Branded is going to do the whole combo uninterrupted. I have 5 traps. I'm going to set 5 traps. That's what's going to happen. We're going to set 5 traps this turn. So my opponent is going to go off and just play Branded. You know, I have no interactions. We're not playing hand traps in this deck. I'm not even playing the Roach, which you may have been like, what? No Maxi? I know, it's crazy. Now, the reason for this, the reason you don't play things like hand traps or Maxi or whatever it may be, is due to the fact that you honestly don't want to draw that. You only have 5 spell and trap card zones, so why would you want to potentially draw into an infinite amount more, right? It's just not really going to be all that worthwhile. Anyway, my opponent ends on a board that literally doesn't do anything to me, because I'm just going to, as I said, set 5 and pass. We also have Olenoids, which is pretty nice here. But yeah, I draw Morella, which is actually very good. I'm actually just going to keep the Rise to Full Height in hand. This may seem a little weird, but honestly, it's not going to do anything right now. So I'm like, yeah, sure, this just kind of makes more sense. During the standby phase, I decided to go for the Olenoids here to pop the Branded Lost, because if they get the advantage off of this card, it becomes way more of an issue. So I'm just like, nah, we're just not going to do that. They go to battle phase, I just flip everything face down. Now, I could have waited for like an attack to go through, but depending on what they attack with, it's not going to matter. So I just flip everything face down right now, and I kind of do want them to go for the Mirror Jade to banish the Olenoids, because that just gets rid of a resource for them and is not really going to provide them any value. So there's that. They do go for the banishment here in the battle phase to potentially do something, but I'm like, no, that's not allowed. We're going to Fiend Griefing here, which sends Backjack. Fantastic. Backjack is then going to look at the top 3, which we don't see, and yeah, there's that. They're going to flip up, activate the effect of the Mirror Jade, banishing the Olenoids, which isn't going to do anything, and go for the... or send Albion. During the end phase, Brandon and High Spirits activates. I'm going to activate the backjack here. We got Leon Colia, so we're going to attempt to activate that if we can. Anyway, so my opponent goes for the Branded in red. They decide to set it instead of adding it to hand and potentially going for the Guardian Chimera play, which I'm kind of surprised by. But we're going to go Morella here. We're going to then activate the effect of the Morella, or activate the effect of the rollback, which we sent off of the Morella, to then send an additional card with Elemental Burst. So now we just pay half of our life points, and we, hey, look, Elemental Burst. Now this is really nice, because Leon Colia is just going to put that rollback right back into the grave, while also chaining the Morella, which is pretty good. So now we have the ability to just nuke my opponent's field at a whim. So anyway, we're going to draw for turn, and we draw a Dynamicious. We knew we were going to draw that, but we're going to go for the rollback here during the main phase and just Elemental Burst. My opponent decides to activate, branded in red. Now, here's the thing. Do you think they're going to fuse? Because you'd be right. Of course they do. And they decide to go into Lubellion. Yeah, sure. Anyway, away goes the entire field, and they're going to go for the Golden Sword Soul. By the way, that's the card they're playing. They go for the Quem in order to go into, send the trap to grab back the Golden Sword Soul, which is hilarious. I'm going to Canadia here. This kind of seems strange, but it's just to get the Liancolia onto our side of the field, which now grabs us the Opabinia. Opabinia is now going to activate its effect in order to grab the Morella. Morella is then going to activate its effect, draining the Liancolia, and Morella is going to dump to the grave another transaction rollback. That is another board wipe we have available to us. So there's that. I just go to the end phase because I'm like, I don't really have anything else. Like I could potentially make an SP, but I'd rather just have the Opabinia so that we can Dynamicious during the opponent's turn. My opponent goes for the fusion deployment to grab up the branded, or the Fallen of Albaz, and here's the thing. My opponent can't do anything. I'm unaffected. So they can't even fuse with Fallen of Albaz. That's just not a card that they can do. So this play did nothing for them. It did absolutely nothing. So, yeah, again, being unaffected is very strong, very powerful. They're going to go for the Fusion Summon with the Cartesia in order to go into the Albion. Albion effect is going to activate, as well as the Quem effect is going to activate, bringing back the Lubellion? Sure, I guess. Like, it's not going to do anything. This specifically has to be Fusion Summoned to get the Fusion Summon. So, there's that. My opponent just ruined their resources. They go for the other Albion, the Sanctifier, and here we go, roll back into, yep, Elemental Burst. Goodbye, entire field. Just gone in an instant, like that. Thanos snapped away, except better. Anyway, they set Retribution off of the Albion, because they basically don't have anything else here. We draw Liancolia, and I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do here. We're going to start off with the Opabinia. We're going to grab in Olenoids. This kind of seems weird, but I do kind of need to deal with this. So we're going to go for the Liancolia. Yes, the Retribution actually can chain to the Morella, to any of the Paleo summon effects. So if they wanted to, they could shuffle back 2 cards, and then potentially negate a summon, which honestly, like, wouldn't be too bad. Anyway, we go for the Liancolia to put back another of the rollbacks, so we have another one of the board wipes if we wanted to, and out comes the Olenoids to pop a card, as well as the Liancolia bringing itself back. So there you go. I just go to battle here, because there's not really a better option, and you'll see why in a second, because I really want to go for Gigantic Sprite. So we're going to go for the Gigantic Sprite and go for Hyperia, and then just link these 2 off into Elf, and then I activate the effect of the Elf here to go into Hyperia, and then go into SP Little Knight using the Opabinia, and then just banishing the Golden Sword Soul because it's funny. Well, the reason I did it is because I know they have Retribution engraved, and so I was like, okay, if I target, like, a card that actually matters, sorry, if I targeted, like, Branded Fusion, Retribution's just going to activate and tag out, so I'll banish the card that they aren't going to grab here. I don't know why they wait now, but they do. So, here comes Branded Fusion. Now, here's the thing. I don't know what they're getting off of this Branded Fusion. And I think they don't even know what they're getting off of this Branded Fusion. Because obviously I'm going to let it resolve. And out comes Rindbrum. I'm like, cool. Well, I'm going to draw a card. I draw into a Trap Trick, which is pretty good. And then I just Dynamicious the Rindbrum as they go to battle. Cool. Question. Now what? The answer to that question is nothing. My opponent just disconnects. Yeah, the game was well and truly in my hand. At that point, they had no access to Albion, or not Albion, Albaz. They had no way of, like, recurring anything. What do? My Paleos just don't care. Good game. All right, here we are, going first. Now, notably, my opponent chose to go second, so keep that in mind. But this game, all I saw was that it was 17 turns. So keep that in mind. Anyway, I normal summon the Soldier Dragon here because of Ash Blossom, and so when I activate the Reasoning, we get the free summon of our off of our Soldier Dragon. And of course, I'm just going to go for the Laundry Dragon Maid here and activate its effect to mill 3. And honestly, not the greatest of mills. The Elemental Burst is good, but it's not the greatest. And then, you know, that's a pretty good draw. And it's Transaction Rollback. Let's go. Incredible. These are actually really good mills. And, well, they called 2, but away goes Hyperia. Sad. But that's fine, because we now just go Elf, and we activate the effect of Elf, targeting the Hyperia, and out comes Hyperia. Hip hip hooray. Well, not the greatest of draws, but honestly, it doesn't really matter here. We have the ability to nuke my entire opponent's field. We have the really good follow-up with Dynamicious into pitch Jack back, or Backjack. We have Elf to bring back the Laundry Dragon Maid. I'm feeling pretty good here. So my opponent's going to go to the main phase. They're going to activate the effect of the Sky Striker Airspace. I'm like, that's fine. I'm going to try and go for the Elf here to bring back the Laundry Dragon Maid. To which my opponent reveals Widow Anchor. I mean, they already revealed that they're on Sky Striker, but tragic. So there's that. So yeah, Area 0 resolves. They're going to triple attack. They're going to draw 2. Which, yeah, it makes sense. Out comes the Mecha Module. The multi-roll. I don't like that card. That card probably screws with me a lot. So I'm just like, I'm going to get rid of that. That's kind of an issue. So we're going to go for the Dynamicious here as well. And then chain the Morella. So Morella hits the field. Dynamicious is going to pitch the Backjack. And yeah, we're going to go from there. Backjack's going to stack the top of the deck. My opponent goes for the Engage. Because of course they had it. It's at 3. I hate that this card is at 3. This card should not be at 1. This card is a terribly designed Yu-Gi-Oh card. And I will forever say that. It is so unbelievably bad for Yu-Gi-Oh! But alas, here we are. Anyway, they grab the multi-roll. I'm like, oh, interesting. I go for this guy to grab the Leon Colia. I'm like, I don't know, it's something. But now we go rollback here because they go for the second Mecha Module. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to Dynamicious you. Now, I know what you're saying. Why not nuke the field? Well, because that gives them access to Ray off of Area 0, which I'm like, I don't know if you have Ray in hand. Now, granted, to be honest, of course they do. They're Sky Striker. Of course they draw Engage, Multi-Roll, and Ray. That's just a standard. They draw, 3 going second cards, and then, of course, the 6th card is always Ray, because it's Sky Striker. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Out comes Ray. I'm like, great, fantastic. I'm going to go for the Leon Colia here just to put back the rollback and then chain the Dynamicious just to kind of put more bodies onto my side of the field. So, yeah. Now, what my opponent does here is a bit silly. First of all, they walk into Elf. That's good. They absolutely should have. And then they go for Kagari. I don't know why we do not go Hayate here to potentially dump a card, to potentially get additional advantage off of Engage. They could have drawn an additional card here because they would have had a 3rd spell engrave. But alas, they just go Engage, grab a maneuver, pop a card, link off into Shizuku, pass. Cool. Yeah, no, I can deal with that. That's fine. No, they were smart and didn't put Hyperia back into the grave, but honestly, Hyperia back in the grave wouldn't have been that big of a deal. I knew I was drawing the Time-Tearing Morganite, so there's not a whole lot that I can do, but luckily, I did end up milling a Trap Trick. So we're going to go Trap Trick into Morella to grab Morella. So Morella, chain, Leon Colia, we do kind of need to do this. And the reason I go for the Morella here is because we can send Tidying. So now Tidying has the ability to special summon out our Laundry Dragon Maid and mill an additional 3 cards, which, hey, those are 3 pretty good ones. I'm going to go for the Time Tearing here. Doesn't really matter. We go for the Opabinya. Opabinya effect is going to detach the Hyperia to grab another Leon Colia. And we're going to activate the Leon Colia as well, chaining another one of our Paleos, putting that guy back onto the field, and then we're going to put the rollback, I believe, into the grave once again. Now, I could have gone for another Tidying there, but I felt like that just wasn't nearly as worth it. I go for the Coral Anemone here. We're going to activate its effect in order to bring back the Laundry Dragon Maid, and then make Opabinya, because I forgot I was waterlocked. I did this originally to go into Gigantic and walk over the field after locking them into 2s, and then I remembered I'm stupid. So, yeah, I should have gone like anything else, but, oops, it's fine. We're going to go Tramp Tantalizing Tune and just put back the Tidying onto the bottom of the deck, and I'm like, it's fine, we have a rollback, we should be okay, we're not going to die. And in fact, I'm almost certain we're not going to, because of the fact that we do have the rollback. But my opponent goes, Normal Summon Ray 2, keep that in mind, that's Ray number 2. Activate Airspace, and just send away the Ray? Yeah, that was a choice. They grabbed the Trap Card Destroyer, or the Spell Trap Destroyer, which is nice. They go Kagari again here to just grab Engage. Now, at the very least, this Engage is online with 3 spells engraved, so they at least get a draw. They're going to go for the Widow Anchor. They're going to draw a card as well. They activate the Widow Anchor here, stealing my Opabinya. Why that one? What? Anyway, out comes Zeke. So they're gonna activate the effect of the Zeke, banishing my whatchamacallit, my Anemone, and then out comes Rose, and I was like, I knew it was gonna be Rose. Of course it's gonna be Rose. Anyway, we roll back here. We're gonna activate the effect. We're gonna go for the Trap Trick. We're gonna go for the Daruma Karma Cannon so that we can get the Daruma Karma Cannon in grave, as well as send away the card without activating anything. This also puts Rose in face down defense position in the main monster zone, which like turns off all of the spells for Sky Striker. So cool, thanks. Cool, thanks. I guess. Time Tearing Morganite! Hooray! We're gonna go for the rollback immediately here, targeting our our Elemental Burst to just nuke the field. I'm just not gonna deal with that. We're just gonna nuke the field. I go to the battle phase here, and then I go to the end phase because I misclicked. I hated it. I could have died very, very easily here had they just like had the third ray or had a second engage. But I did get lucky, and that didn't happen. They just Raigeki my board, and we're not dead. I don't have anything. Okay, very lucky. Now, that was literally a misclick. I had 2 cards I could have set, and I would have been fine, and nothing would have happened. We would have been totally okay. However, misclick. I wish there was a way that you could just, like, I wish it said, like, confirm, go to end phase. I don't know why it doesn't confirm end phase. Like, you don't need to confirm battle or main phase 2 or something like that, but confirm end phase, sure. Especially if you're going from battle to end phase. Like, come on, Konami. I hate that that's the case, because it only happens every once in a while. There you go. We have now set 5, which is pretty cool. And again, here's Balance of Judgment, but it's not going to do anything here. Anyway, I go Rise to Full Height here, literally just to get a guy onto the field, because Rise to Full Height can activate both of its effects each turn, which is pretty cool. Actually, you can activate however many Rise to Full Heights you want. Yeah, period. As long as it's the Grave effect, you can activate however many you want. If you want to activate 6, somehow getting them back into the grave, you absolutely can. Anyway, they go for the Kagari into the Engage, and at this point, they don't have anything. Like, I'm not worried about anything. They're going to go and pop my Canadia, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Anyway, out comes Engage. They're going to grab Eagle Booster, which is funny, because it's not going to do anything. And then, of course, they drew into the second Engage, so they're going to grab Shark Cannon, which is also very funny. Anyway, we go for the Needlebug Nest. I'm actually pretty low on cards. I only have 26. My opponent changed Maxi. Cool. But yeah, out comes Leoncolia. They're down to 17 as well. So, interesting. I actually deck out first because of Time Tearing Morganite. But, yeah. It should be fine. We definitely have the ability to win before that. We're just going to set 2 and pass because I didn't really have anything else that I could do. So I'm just like, yeah, sure, I'll just pass. And of course, the Harpy's Feather Duster, my favorite. Anyway, it's not that big of a deal. We're going to go for the Olenoids. We're going to target the middle card. They're going to go and chain Shark Cannon. I'm like, oh no! Anyway, Dynamistress, we're going to target this guy. Now, I know what you're saying. Why are we doing that? That means they can go into Ray. If this card leaves the field, they can go into Ray. Ray just gets them into another Kagari, which then gets them into a whole bunch more cards. And to that I say, yeah, but this card's gonna go away anyway, and I want them to use Eagle Booster. Because of course they do! Because of course they do. So now I'm just gonna chain the Waboku here, just to get a guy onto the field, and then I'm also going to chain the Daruma Karma Cannon. So yeah, Daruma Karma Cannon, Canadia, and yeah, we're just gonna slap a whole bunch of guys onto the field, and away goes their unaffected monster. Weep! Bye-bye! Anyway, Olenoids hits the field. We have a lot of guys. We have Waboku. You're fantastic. Now, I know what you're saying. I know you're thinking, like, wow, that's crazy. You Harpies, they Harpies Feather Dusted you, and it didn't do anything. And that's the problem with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that trap decks kind of have to do this. If you are playing a trap deck, your trap cards have to be chainable. You have to have something that you can activate. Because Harpy's Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, Evenly Matched, etc. all exist. So you can't just sit there and play reactive spells. You have to play proactive spells. You have to play spells that do a thing. Because if you don't, you lose. So that's why we're playing so many of these cards that are like theoretically bad, but actually do something. Whether that's they do something in the grave, like Rise to Full Height, or they specifically do something that you can just chain, right? Like Woboku. Anyway, we go for the SnowiKs because we had 3, and we're just going to pop the Widow Anchor. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, they literally couldn't because they just owned it themselves. They didn't have to take there. They chose to take. They chose to take this monster. Did it do anything? No. But it was there. Anyway, we just walk into the guy and just pass the turn. At this point, the game is well and truly over. But it's going to take a while for my opponents to realize that. They're going to activate the linkage here, and I'm just going to pop the card. The only card that they have. Because reading is hard. Now, to be fair, realistically, I should have activated the Olenoids there to chain a guy so that we could have gotten another guy. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're totally fine. I'm going to go for this Fiend Griefing here. I'm going to give them Max C so that I can just get a guy onto the field. Or I'm going to shuffle it back, I should say. Because it's funny. It'd be really funny if they drew the Max C. So, yeah, there's that. Anyway, we send to the graveyard the Backjack. I'm also going to stack the deck so that I guarantee off of this SnowiKs trigger that we are going to add a card that I want. Now, I do this kind of in the wrong order, but it's not that big of a deal. We grab the Dynamicious here, and then we just walk in at 1200. I'm going to set 2 and pass the turn. We're going to keep the Trap Trick in hand, and yeah, they draw for turn. They go to the end phase. That's cool. I'm going to activate the Backjack because I don't want to draw this card. It's Balance of Judgment. Realistically, should have done that the other way. Should have put Balance of Judgment into the hand off of the SnowiKs and set the Dynamicious. But it's not a big deal because we have Lethal. Hooray! Hooray! We did it. We beat Sky Striker with just a better control deck. I would say good game, but it was Sky Striker, so no. Alright, we're back with the deck, and honestly, I hope that you now understand why you shouldn't be playing this deck for the WCQ. Each one of those games was, like, really long. And not in, like, oh, it was a back-and-forth game, it was close. No. They kind of weren't. I was almost always in control, especially that branded game. I was always in control. While it may have seemed like I was low on life points or what have you, I was always in control of the game. It was always up to me to decide who was winning. And in the Sky Striker game, I was mostly ahead. For most of the time, I was ahead. So it's not necessarily that you're not going to win or something like that. It's just that you close out games really slowly. The Paleos are just, they take a while, right? So there you go. Not some insane back and forth. But honestly, the deck's pretty fun. Yeah, I understand why Joshua Schmidt really likes it. If you don't like trap decks, first of all, that's weird. Why don't you like a trap deck? That's not necessarily to me being like, oh, you should like trap cards, but it's more so just there's a lot of different trap decks. Maybe one of them fits your playstyle, right? Labyrinth isn't nearly as slow or controlling as this. Eldritch is almost the opposite, where it doesn't really do anything. It is all kind of floodgatey, right? And then this guy's in the middle of control. I don't know. Give it a try. Let me know what you guys think down below. Whether this is a good deck, whether it is just Joshua Schmidt who's making it look really good, or whether you believe that this is just a deck that no one is prepared for and therefore has no idea how to actually counter. Because I genuinely think that might be it. But that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did enjoy it. If you did, I'd like to very much so appreciate it. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.